Hello. When undertaking due diligence for forest carbon projects for the purposes of nature-based solutions, one of the things that you might want to be considering as part of your due diligence are the identification of risks due to non-permanence. There are a number of different risk factors that you might want to consider, but in this video we are going to look at wind. So we're going to have a look at this example first to see how this looks in Earth Blox, but then I will also show you how we can apply this to our own project area. So on the map we have an output which shows us if we look at the legend, we can see the number of years in which high winds have been identified. So here we're basically classifying high wind as anything over during the year that reaches over 2 meters per second. So the red areas are where over the past 20 years, the darkest red is where basically every single year has experienced that, whereas the purple areas is where no years have experienced that at all. So we can see this pattern over the whole of Cambodia. We can see that in relation to our project areas as well. If we go to the dashboard, we can compare our project areas and see how many years have exceeded that wind threshold. So really we've only got two. We've got Southern Cardamom and the Saima location, and we can see this information as well below. So for our proposed location, we can actually see that there's been wind is not a risk for this particular project site, but it is something that we might want to consider for some of the others. Wind being a potential risk for blowing trees over. So in order to apply this to our own project site, first thing I'm going to do is just remove the example there. So step one is to add our own area into the map. So I'm going to choose just a random location. This is in Indonesia, hence a very cloudy imagery. But then I am going to go to Load Project. I'm going to make sure Template Projects is selected, and I'm going to search for wind. I'm then going to select Open, and then I'm going to Load Without Areas. So this means we can then apply this particular workflow to this particular project location. So I am then going to select Run. And so now we have some outputs loaded up onto the map. So we can see that for the most part our demonstration location is not impacted by high winds, except more along the kind of coastline here. So where in particular around here, essentially every single year. So whilst we might want to consider risk over the whole project, we know that actually it's this area of the project where wind is the most likely to be a risk. Again, if we go to the dashboard, we can see what the maximum is, so the maximum number of years in which high winds have been detected, and so that's all 20 years from this analysis, as we could kind of gather from the map. So my assessment of this location is, for the most part, it's that wind is not a risk, except in a few locations. So, and that is how we can assess, one of the ways we can assess wind as a risk factor within our forest carbon projects. Thank you very much.